there, friends, it's Bryan. And on today's episode, we are going to do something really cool. We're going to go ahead and go back to see how comic books started with 4 of the very first comics that ever came out, which led us to this wonderful, wonderful hobby that we all love and enjoy. So stick around. It's going to be really cool and it's going to be fun. See you here in a couple of seconds. Hey, what's up, Eric? Anything new? Okay, let's check it out. Oh my God, dude! When did you get these books?
Just got them in.
No kidding!
Pretty cool, huh?
Oh my God!
Those are some of the earliest comics that came out. Let's talk about it.
So Derek, I am like really excited that you even got these books, man. And I really want to learn the history, you know. So let me know the story, dude.
Let me give you the rundown. Before comic books, there were magazines called pulps. These started in 1896 and ran through the 1950s. These were primarily detective stories, crime stories. There were no superheroes back in the day. The closest to a superhero you got was the Shadow, the Spirit, but they didn't have any superpowers. They were just guys wearing masks fighting crime. So this is an example of a pulp. They're called pulps because they were made on very low quality paper, not a lot in production value, so you know, very rough edges, poor paper quality, poor printing process, which is where the name pulp came from. It's basically meant to be thrown away, not saved. So one day, I don't remember the gentleman's name, I'm not an expert at this, I just know a little bit, decided to put together the first comic book. This is the very first comic book in the sense of illustrated art put together in the form of a comic book that you and I know of. This was Famous Funnies. What this book was is a compilation of newspaper strips that got reprinted and bound together in a comic book format. This is Famous Funnies #1. This came out in July of 1934. So this is the first comic book.
This is awesome. So what was the impetus to start this?
I don't really know what his motivation was for doing this, other than maybe he was an avid reader of newspaper funnies and wanted to put something together as book format. You also have to remember this is right after the Great Depression. A lot of people are out of work, trying to make ends meet. So I mean, it could be something out of necessity where he just wanted to figure out a way to make some money to put food on the table.
Yeah, I can definitely understand the need to put food on the table and making money. And what an idea to take those comic strips and to make them into book form.
So after the Funnies reprints came about, they actually sold very well. They sold out of what they initially printed, so they kept doing it, and they realized that there was a want for this product. So in 1935, they came out with the very first compilation of brand new stories. These were not reprints, these are all new content, still in the theme of Sunday Funnies, very humorous, lighthearted, no superheroes, no crime. But this book, this is called New Fun. They printed this in large format, so it wasn't comic book size. It was, I believe, slightly larger than a magazine.
Mm.
So even though they tried to push this, it just didn't take off because it was larger than the previous Famous Funnies.
Why was size such a matter, do you think?
Probably for consistency. I mean, I don't know if it was a collector mentality that, having everything all the same size, or just the mindset maybe something larger wasn't meant for the young readers. Maybe it was, magazine, like the pulps. The pulps were larger size.
Right.
So maybe they lost their demographic. I really don't know. I wish I was around that time or knew people around at that time to find out.
I mean, this is really blowing my mind just to hear the history of these books and to learn a little something. Yeah, this is great. I can't wait to see what else you have.
All right. So this is New Comics number 1. In the comic collector world, this is considered the first comic book of all new content. So following up with Famous Funnies, this was the first comic book size format where it's all new content, no reprints, nothing reused or cut from the funny pages. This is all brand new content. This book came out in December of 1935.
That's a long time ago. Now, this would be considered Golden Age.
Yes.
Why do they call it the Golden Age? I got him.
Yeah, you got me stumped there.
There's another outtake.
I know there's an answer. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
There was a platinum age.
Yep. Yes.
In the 1920s.
Okay. I happen to hear that, but I don't know what books those deal with.
Most of it is just illustrated versions of novels or just stories, short stories, mostly graphic, or very little graphic, mostly text-based.
Okay.
So it'd be almost like reading a book with just little graphic captions here and there.
Right.
It definitely wasn't a full-blown comic book format.
Okay. And that's the one, huh? Wow.
First comic book with all brand new content.
We're going to go ahead and keep going because I see something right there, man. Oh, my goodness.
The Holy Grail of comics.
Well, there she is. Please tell me a little something about this.
This is Action Comics number 1. Came out in June of 1938. This is considered the first superhero comic book. This is the first time you saw a character with superpowers from a far off land to come and fight crime and save the day.
Wow.
Like how we had mentioned before, the Shadow, the Spirit, they were heroes, but they weren't superheroes because they didn't have superpowers. This is the first superpowered character to debut in a comic book and be an ongoing character.
Wow. Look at that bad boy.
So let's end that for here. Maybe the next time we sit down, we can talk about the rest of the superheroes in the Golden Age and how Superman laid the foundation for everything that was to follow.
Yes, of course.
Now, if you're interested in getting more information, one very cool resource that I have the pleasure of owning myself, let me show it to you.
Please do.
Done by a dear friend of mine, Jim Steranko. I'm sure some of your viewers know who he is. This book is called The History of Comic Books.
Nice.
Or The Steranko History of Comics. This is volume 2. Number 1's been out of print for a very long time. If I can come across a copy, I'll bring one in for you to take a look at. Now, volume 1 goes into great detail of what we talked about today. The pulps, everything leading up to right before Action Comics #1. This volume 2 covers everything superhero in the Golden Age. So we can flip through it just a little bit. So it's a lot of text, very text driven.
Okay.
And it just takes you step by step on how everything went down from the 1930s.
Oh, there's my boy,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. Shazam.
How he got screwed over by almost every publisher at the time. That's, again, we could talk about that next time.
Definitely, most definitely. This is a wonderful book. When did this come out?
Good question. Before my time, or before I started collecting. 1972.
There it is, 1972. Wow, what a keepsake. That is so great. Thank you for sharing, Derek.
And this one is signed by my good friend Steranko.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I saw a coda over there in the back of the...
Oh, yeah, certificate of authenticity.
That's cool. That is really cool. No, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. This was great. And you're never too old to learn something new. Definitely.
It's always good to know where everything started and where things came from. And this is a very good resource if you want to get very in-depth information about how the comic book industry started. All right, we are back in the man cave, and I want to send out some shout outs and love to my boy Derek Oyama over there at Legends, Comics, and Games. We had a fun shoot today, and it was great to get a little knowledge of the comic book genre when it first started out. And so that was cool. Speaking of cool, if you like what you saw today and what you learned, hey, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, bing, when I'm dropping new content over here on the YouTube channel or even the IG machine and on Facebook. So go ahead and make sure you do that. My name's Bryan Medina. This is Comic Talk with Bryan. And hey, always keep searching for those hard to find books because they're out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Hey Bryan, check out this one. Oh